So I mostly skipped 2K27 promo, the community day stuff, people analyzing and picking badges apart for 2 weeks straight. Mostly just kind of ignored like all the stuff that was out there. I just wanted to get the game in my hands, so I kind of wanted to wait before I said anything. And had about like 3 hours in, have a pretty good idea of what immediately stands out. Now, for those that are new to the channel, usually I cover rankings of cards and have tools available for that kind of stuff. So I kind of want to address the elephant in the room. Um, I do have those things available, but I will not be planning to run any website just because of the cost of running it anytime soon. But I am going to probably try to make this stuff available in some ways, just TBD. Maybe if I can get enough subscribers, that'll help fund the operation. But nevertheless, just kind of wanted to go over the first impressions of the game, just my own thoughts, really not influenced by anybody. I was pretty serious about this. I didn't want anybody kind of influencing or swaying my opinion on things. For context, I put in something like 16 to 1700 hours in the last 2 years between 2K25 and 2K26. So I have a pretty good idea of how to play the game. Played about 500 Showdown KOTC games last year, regularly in Tier 1. So know quite a bit. So I have three things really just want to cover on the game front as far as first impressions go. Number one, the collision, the contests, the physics. It just feels more realistic and revamped. That's really just that's the only way I could really say it. This is easily the biggest win by far. It's very clear to me that if they did not change anything else in this game, I actually think this is worth it just to play it for the new physics and collision system that they have in place that ties to contests. I'll get into that in a little bit, but number one, I think they've really improved the physics engine. Does feel a little bit slower. It's always kind of tough when you go from couple weeks from from doing like 7-4, 7-5 goat cards in park, and then you're back to square one with Emerald Emily Engsler on the court. And to that end, I'll use her as an example, but day one NMS use I think it's like you get 99,000 VC if you do the deluxe. I got the deluxe. I didn't want to drop it on the ultra for like a pro pass, and pro passes in the summer for when the game is just kind of at the end of its life cycle. Just didn't see the value there, so I got the $100 option. But the defense at the rim, it just feels much better, completely different. It feels like you're actually playing defense at the rim. If you remember a year ago, fades and just the shot making and the Zens were just out of control, just like right out of gate. And as a result, game got patched like two months later, and it was just a completely different game. That's how much it changed, and it kind of turned into this rim running thing. The downside of that is, like, while that kind of curbed some of the grotesque fades that you were able to pull off in 2K26, it really amplified the rim running, and it's just like you're sticking your hands up. You got 99 interior defense, and dudes are just taking the stick dunk and just hammering it like every single time, especially if you did like the Shea escape move and you're just like running around dudes. I mean, people who are really good at the game basically figured out that the meta in 26 was just like you have players with big enough builds and enough speed, and you just run around people all day. So the physics, the defense at the rim, those are really two big things. Now, obviously, I'm only like 3 hours in. I'm sure they're going to patch things. I also haven't played online yet. That's going to be a whole different beast. But I've been working all day, so I'm not like some of y'all who are just taking the whole day to play the game. That's we're not at that level right now. Third, and this is also pretty big. It was kind of like one of those like I'll see it when I believe it kind of things. Like, I didn't even keep up with all the Beluba tweets and messages after dude just kind of went back into the cave a year ago after his annual appearance. But basically, like, he had warned that they really closed the gap between rhythm shooting with stick and the button. And let me tell you, man, like, he was not joking. I think the button is back this year. Whether that's a good or bad thing, TBD. I don't know yet. I think that's really going to be determined by like what I see out there online, and obviously, we'll figure out like what the metas are, who's cheating, what are the optimal animations. I heard a lot of chatter about the D-book. No idea if that's changed at all, how that's changed. Obviously, we have a limited set of cards. Other thing is, I did rip my 10 packs with the 99,000 VC. And I'll tell you one thing, like we go through this dog and pony show every year. I have no position or stance on whether you're NMS or whether you decide to spend money. I think everybody basically agrees that 2K and Take-Two are a exceedingly greedy company. And it's probably mostly the influence of Take-Two more than visual concepts in 2K, but it is what it is. I will I'll see if I'm NMS. It's going to really depend on how competitive I am online on this game this year. If there's just a bunch of cheating, then that's a hard no. I'm just not going to go through this again with what we went through in 26. But I got Grant Hill in the 8th pack, 2% odds. I thought that was interesting for the highest tier cards. They put the odds in there. I think he's not the highest tier gem, but he was like the one below that. It seems like they've changed the card art. I don't think I'm a fan of the new like Ruby card art style. I thought the player XP stuff is kind of interesting, but I think it's ultimately just like not a huge factor when you're making decisions on what players to get. It's just always going to come down to playing style, animations, and like just how beefed up the card is. The other thing is like running a couple of WNBA players out there early on that aren't particularly good cards. I can tell you, because of the new physics and collision system, they are not nearly as bad on defense against larger players. I mean, I was able to get Emily Engstler against, I think it was like Isaiah Hartenstein, like on a just like trying to make a layup close to the rim. And I don't know how much of you guys watch WNBA. I'm actually a big fan. I know there's a lot of hubbub in politics, but once you take all that stuff out, like, it's actually the level of the league has gone up quite a bit in a few years. And for those that know ball, like Emily Engstler is like one of the best elite defenders in the WNBA for the Portland Fire. So she was actually a very good player to kind of test sort of this collision system with. And I'm pleased. And again, it goes back to, I think that's the best thing about the game, is that the physics seems like a huge step up from like even last, I would say 2-3 years. King of the Court seems like it's gone. Don't know what happened there. Honestly, good riddance. Terrible system. Black box for how you would get a score. Of course, it got gamed because there was money on the line. So basically, you didn't only have to be good, but you had to be good enough and have a larger audience for like really laying down for the top content creators who shall go unnamed. Everybody knows who they are. And I think just it's really TBD for me, just seeing like if cheating's really curbed or if we're just going to be seeing all the same old shit. We'll see. They claim that they have anti-cheating mechanisms. There are technological ways to do all this stuff, even if you don't have to read the hardware directly with the Zens, etc. That's about it. I'll probably play this quite a bit. Not anything crazy. I have a full life outside of this, but I still love playing. I figure I'll get at least 20, 30, 40 hours in the next week and a half or so. And, I'll make some videos. We'll see how this goes. But if 2K just kind of pisses me off this year pretty early on, I can guarantee you I'm not going to have time for it this year like I did last year. So drop a like, subscribe. And, if we get enough subscribers, maybe I'll get that website back up one day. Peace.